I've had the Pimax Crystal for well over a year now, with my first video going live on the 26th of April last year. How time flies, literally. And talking of which, join me as we take off from RAF Waddington in Lincolnshire in the Just Flight Hawk as we make our way to Lady Barrett in Derbyshire and then over to Wales. And I'm going to talk about my experiences with living with the headset over that time period. So there's no doubt that when the Pimax Crystal was first released, it caused a wave of emotions, good and bad. And as probably long-term viewers of the channel may know, I've been a massive fan of the Vario Aero, and in fact for 2 years running it was my favourite headset, and I wasn't expecting that to change once I tried the Crystal. Aside from perhaps the build quality and the software, which at the time the Pimax Crystal wasn't that great. It's improved now, by the way, we'll get to that in a minute. The Crystal is a far better headset than the Vario Aero. With its QLED panel, colours are more vibrant, richer, you've got deeper blacks with local dimming, it's got a larger field of view and integrated audio. So needless to say, it became the new leader, the new one to beat, because those visuals of the Pimax Crystal dominate everything of your experience. And when you go to a lesser headset, it is very obvious straight away. Obviously combined with that experience of the visuals is the audio. The floating ear design of the DMAS speakers is superb, and the treble and mid-range response is pretty decent while it lacks a bit of bass. Honestly, overall, I'm very happy with the sound quality from these speakers. But what is the bad stuff? What are the things that I don't like? Well, this mainly focuses on the battery, because this headset has eye tracking, an XR2 chipset, and it's capable of even going wireless. But these are the kind of things that I'm not really that interested in, and for seated experiences and for flight simulation, a wide headset is perfectly fine, even in a motion rig as you can see here. Obviously, because it has a battery, it runs down, and anything with a battery, including electric cars, well, it's just annoying because they need recharging. And for me, as a hardcore flight simmer that often spends hours and hours flying, it's always been a bugbear of mine. I've always said that I hate the battery in the Pimax Crystal, and I really wish it wasn't there. Funny enough, Pimax have been listening to that, as you know. And I can't wait to review the Crystal Lite very, very soon. For me, this is the main problem with this headset, and it may encompass many of the issues you face when using the headset. I must say though, that the software has improved quite a lot since those early iterations. So I've got to mention the form factor, obviously. It is a big headset, it's large, but please don't let that fool you. Most Crystal owners don't have an issue with the comfort of the headset. And I would recommend, if you can, and I'm talking to Pimax here because I'm not sure if they're available yet, is go ahead and buy their top strap. If not, you can always use the Studio Form balancer kits, which I have a discount in the description below. Now, talking about Studio Form, they have some really cool accessories which I'm going to show you now, because I am aware that some people have an issue with the lens to eye distance with the Crystal. Well, I'm glad to say they have a new Pimax Crystal PU face foam leather and ultimate upgrade kit, which includes a spacer kit which allows you to increase the lens distance from your eyes by plus 10mm or even 20mm, including the face foam. Now, once you've determined your optimal eye distance and gasket shape, you can then customize the spacer to form a perfectly layered curve, and this helps distribute the pressure from the head strap more evenly over your face. Very cool stuff. And as you can see here, the leather face foams look really, really nice, especially the one on the back as well. Very plush, and it really helps make the Crystal look even more premium. I do again have a discount code which you're more than welcome to use in the description below. With that in mind, it is really a headset that I can use for hours without any problems. It is, however, quite heavy when compared to, say, the Quest 3, which in itself is quite a heavy headset anyway, because all of the weight and the battery is at the front of the headset. I do feel with the battery in the back it does act as a counterweight, and overall I don't find that the Crystal is a overly uncomfortable headset. It just looks a bit ridiculous on your head, I know, and it looks uncomfortable, but it isn't, not for me and not for many others. However, please bear in mind, I'm used to wearing a heavy motorcycle helmet, and for some people, especially with neck problems, this will be a bit too much for you. And keep in mind, comfort is always a bit of a personal preference. Another thing I don't like is the interchangeable lenses. I really don't like them, and this again is just a personal point. I did try the wide field of view lenses. I've got a review on the channel, in fact I've got 2 videos on the channel, and each time I just said basically that they're not really that great, a bit of a waste of time because you get a tiny sweet spot and more chromatic aberration. The stereo overlap isn't very good, and for the extra 10 degrees it's just not worth it because the standard lenses are absolutely fine and they're beautiful. Just use them, don't change them. And these things that Pimax tend to do, these crazy ideas, are sometimes the company's downfall, because if they could just focus themselves on one headset, imagine what they could achieve. I do worry about the research and development that goes to waste, all of the thinking behind all these ideas, when if they could just focus, pardon the pun, on what they do best, that is PC VR, they could achieve something very special. So the other things that I'm not so keen on is things like motion reprojection. They nearly nailed it, but unfortunately at the moment it's still not working quite right, which is a great shame because they do have a good algorithm and that's been shown with the 8KX. It just hasn't really matured enough yet, and I hope that they're still working on it behind the scenes. I think the only other thing to mention is probably chromatic aberration. While you're never going to get rid of it completely, especially with the spheric lenses, it is there, and as I've tested a number of different crystals, the quality control can waver quite a bit when it comes to the lenses, but also the display, as some of them have quite strong Mura and dead pixels. So I'm really hoping that Pimax can take all this feedback and really focus down, again pardon the pun, on the really important essentials to make the headset the best it possibly can be. Because there's so many things that I love about this headset. Not just the visuals, not just the integrated audio, but things like the inside-out tracking. You don't need base stations, and it works really well. I love the fact that it comes with controllers. I mean, I don't really use the controllers, but it's great how you've got that as an addition. But when it's all said and done, which is the headset that I use the most? It is the Pimax Crystal, because when I put that on and I look through that display, enjoy that decent field of view. I mean, it's not amazing, but 102 degrees is definitely decent, alongside the integrated audio, and for me it is very comfortable, and it's going to get a lot more comfortable soon, guys, once they take all of that battery and XR2 chipset stuff out. It is a wonderful, brilliant, immersive experience. And I'm so glad that the Crystal exists in 2024. And I've got a feeling it's only going to get better for us as flight simmers very soon. Now, of course, it is a shame that the up-and-coming Pimax Crystal Lite doesn't have eye tracking, but we can't have it all for a cheap price. And I think Pimax do need to be applauded for making that true successor to the Reverb G2. I am super excited about this headset. And as I say, it will be on the channel very, very soon. Unless you're a DCS World lover, and I can't imagine MSFS 2024 having dynamic foveated rendering. I would love to be wrong on that one, I really would. I think the standard Crystal Lite with local dimming will do you proud for many years to come. Just don't forget to add DMAS to your order. Anyway, that's my impressions of the Pimax Crystal, having used it for a year. Thank you so much for watching. As always, please feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye bye for now.